Hello! What's up, everyone? It's me, your friend, Tanner Babcock here, coming at you with a brand new video. I haven't made a video in a while, but to get things started, I'm going to show off my GitHub sponsors profile, like I do for every video. Here's my GitHub sponsors page. There is a link to my GitHub in this video description. These are the reasons why I need some money. On GitHub, you can choose 3 tiers in which to sponsor me. You can choose to give me $4 a month, you could give me $20 a month, or you could give me $100 a month. That would be really awesome because I really need some money. Here's some of my repositories. I have also made a Patreon. So if you would like to sponsor my work making YouTube videos, or you would like some early access to my YouTube videos, or you would like some exclusive content, or you would like access to my private patron chat Discord server, you should totally sponsor me on Patreon. You can choose to give me $4 a month or $8 a month. If you want to join the Patreon chat on Discord, you could give me $16 a month. You could choose to give me $32 a month. Notice something about these numbers? $32 a month will grant you silver patron privileges on my Tanner Babcock patron chat on Discord. There's going to be a link to that down in the video description. You could also give me $64 a month, which is the gold tier, or you could give me $128 a month for the platinum tier. There's going to be a link to my Patreon in the video description as well. Really, anything helps. Anything at all would really help me a lot. You don't have to give me very much money. You could just give me $4 or $8 or $16 a month. It's really not a lot of money, and it would really help me out. I could make better work. I could make better videos. I could get a VPN. I could do better work for the open source community. The quality of my videos would get better. I would be able to afford better video equipment. I would be able to afford all kinds of things. Maybe a real microphone. Anyway, I'm also going to show off my website. This is tannerbabcock.com. It has links to all of my stuff, my art, my music, my opinions, and all of my Linux stuff. It also has all of my videos on here. There's going to be a link to my website in this video description. It's called tannerbabcock.com. There is a lot of helpful Linux stuff on it, like this. The basic Unix and Linux shell commands, which is what I'm going to be going over today. Here's the Linux section of my website. Here's a software guide for GNU Linux distros. If you want to know more about the GNU Linux distros, there's a page for that on my website, so check it out. Yeah, check out my website. But, so, the reason why I'm making this video is I want my channel to be a little bit friendlier to new Linux users, newcomers, beginners, noobs. The past few videos I've made have kind of been more about advanced topics or niche topics, stuff that new Linux users are not going to know about. I don't think new Linux users know about Wayland or Rust or stuff like that, so I'm just going to pretend for this video that my audience is just have never worked with Linux before. Total Linux noobs, total laymen, know hardly anything about computers. If that's you, this video is for you. You also don't need to be running Linux You don't have to be running Linux to follow along with this video. You could also be running Mac OS, because Mac OS is Unix based. And all of the commands I'm going to be showing you all in this video will work on the Mac OS terminal as well as the Linux terminal. If you have an Android phone, you could also install a terminal app on your Android phone and type these commands in there, and those commands would work on there. So now, what is the Linux command line? If you're a new user, it's probably pretty scary, right? I mean, typing these commands, you try to type something, it says command not found. You see other people using the command line. You see other people, typing commands like this. They have all kinds of fancy stuff going. They might have a nice prompt. They might have nice icons like I do. It's probably pretty scary, right? I mean, you're probably thinking, do I really have to use the terminal that often in Linux? You really don't if you don't want to. I mean, if you're a total new user and you get started with Ubuntu, you will probably never have to open up your terminal unless you want to install, a certain type of package, or you need to do this really specific thing that there's not a graphical solution for. You might have to open up a terminal and accomplish that on something like Ubuntu or Linux Mint if you're a new user. But don't be afraid, because there's lots of cool tools like this, like htop. Don't be afraid of the terminal. I use the terminal every day. I basically live in the terminal. I don't use a graphical file manager whatsoever. I strictly use the commands line for managing all of my files. There's a bit of a learning curve, but I'm just going to be showing you all some very basic commands. Just the very basic stuff for using the shell, for navigating directories in the shell, for looking at files or editing files. I'm going to show you how to do all that. So, right now I am using my Z shell, which has the Oh My Zush ZSH framework. It has a lot of fancy aliases, drop-in replacements for Unix commands. It has a fancy prompt. It has nice icons and stuff. So I'm just going to ditch this. I'm just going to go into a straight vanilla bash shell. If you are running any kind of Unix operating system, whether it's GNU Linux or BSD or Mac OS, you will have the bash shell installed on your system. I don't think they make computers that don't have the bash shell installed on them. But yeah, here's the bash shell. I have not made any customizations to this shell. I hardly have a configuration file. This is a straight vanilla bash session with nothing fancy, no aliases, no shortcuts. So everything that I type in here, these commands are being executed the way that I type them. I'm not hiding or abstracting anything. I do not have any aliases to confuse people, so feel free to follow along. All of the commands I'm going to be typing in here should work for you in the exact same way that they're going to be working for me. So what was this command that I just typed? It's called ls. This is one of the most commonly used commands in the Linux terminal ever. If you're going to be living in the terminal like I am, like a lot of other Linux users are, you are probably going to be typing the ls command 100 times a day. Just a lot of times every day. So this is my home directory. When you first open a terminal in Linux or Mac OS, and it loads bash. The bash shell, really every shell, will put you in your home directory by default. You can see what directory you're in by typing ls and looking at the files that pop up. This is my home directory. I have a few files here. This 09/28/2022, that is this video. So this file is being written to right now. Bin is a directory. Desktop is a directory. I have documents, downloads. I have one called Drive. I have one called Git for my Git repositories. I have Mail. I have Music. I have media.ini, which is a file for my website. I have org for my Emacs org documents. And I have pictures, like probably every Linux user has, the pictures directory, the documents directory, the downloads directory, videos, tbcom. This is my website. This is the Git repo for my website. And I also have VM for my virtual machines, if I want to make virtual machines. So, the output of the ls command will change depending on what your current working directory is. Your shell prompt tells you the name of your current working directory. It might not seem like it right now, but it's this, the tilde. If you want to know the full absolute path of your current working directory, you are going to want to type the command pwd and press enter. And that stands for print working directory. And that just prints the current directory that you're in. Now, I'm saying that word a lot, directory. What is that? You know, you might not have heard of that before. It's like a folder. If you've ever used Windows File Explorer, you know, they have folders. A folder can contain other files and other folders. Well, a folder and a directory are basically the same thing. A directory is like a container for files and other directories. The thumbnail of this video shows you the standard Unix file system hierarchy, and that will break down all of the different directories from the root directory. And yeah, we'll just type ls again, show all of these files in my home directory. And what if you want to change your directory? The command to change the current working directory is called cd. You're going to want to type cd and then type the name of the directory you want to go into. I want to go into my music directory, so I'm going to type cd space music. And then I'm going to hit enter. As you can see now, my prompt has changed, and instead of showing me the tilde, which represents my home directory, now it shows music, because I am in the music directory. At any point in your terminal session, you can type the word clear and press enter, and that will clear the screen. And that will put your prompt at the very top of the terminal window. You can also achieve this with the key combination Control-L. Control and L does the exact same thing as the command clear. But let's type ls again, because now that we've changed the directory, the results of the ls command are going to be different. And whoa! there's quite a few files in this music directory. This is all of my music. All of the music that I've legally and lawfully downloaded is going to be right here in my music directory. So all of these are directories, except for these stray MP3 files. All of these are other directories. If we type pwd again, the output of pwd should be different now because we changed our current working directory from my home directory into my music folder. Now pwd says /home/Babcock/music. So now what if you want to go back? What if you want to go back up, like upwards a directory? You want to go back to the directory that has your current directory. To do that, you just type cd space ... period, and you press enter, and that will bring you back into the home directory or the containing parent directory. cd ... is how you do that. ... is a special file name. This file name always refers to the parent directory. Unless you're in the root of your file system, you can always type cd space ... to return to the parent directory. Another trick you can do is you can type cd space ... Just press a dash like that, and if you do that, that will take you to your previous current working directory. This will take you to the directory that you were just in before you ran the cd command again. As you can see, it worked. It took me right back to my music directory. So I'll just type cd space ... and get back to my home directory. So let's type ls again. What if you want a little more information from the ls command? All it shows you is the file names. So if you want to adjust your ls command, we're going to give it command line options, which is what you're going to want to use if you want to change the output of a command. If you want a command to work differently, you're going to have to give it command line options. So let's just type ls, we'll give it a space, and let's give it some options. We're going to type dash, and then we're going to type L, and then we're going to type A, and then we're going to type H. We are going to give it the three options L, A, and H. And that should give you something that looks like this. Now, there's a lot more information here because I used the long option. -L will tell the command ls, the program ls, to format the output like this. It shows you the user and the group that owns each entry of the directory. It shows you the last modified date, and it shows you the file permissions. It also shows you how many items are in that directory. So what was that I typed again? It disappeared because of the output. The command that I typed was ls space -LAH. Now what these options do, the L option tells the ls command to format the output, really nicely like this. The A option tells the ls command to output the invisible files. All of these files that start with a dot, they weren't showing up on the ls command earlier. When I ran ls a few minutes ago, we didn't see this, dot Mozilla, or dot oh my zush, or dot ssh, or dot steam. None of those files showed up in the file listing because they are invisible. Invisible files always start with a period. So if we want to show invisible files in the ls listing, we have to provide the A option. What was that third option I typed? It was H. The H option tells ls to print the file sizes in human readable format. So if we just run the command ls-la and enter that, you will see these file sizes are kind of hard to read. ls will always print 4096 as the file size for any directory you have at all. It's going to be 4096 every time. That is the precise file size in bytes of each file in the file listing. That's what our ls output looks like if we don't provide the H option. So to see it again with human readable file sizes, I'll type ls-lah again. And as you can see there, those file sizes are a little bit easier to read. Now, what are some other basic commands you could do? One really easy one, if you want to test your internet connection without actually opening a web browser or something like that, you can type ping. Ping is going to be installed on almost every Linux or Unix box ever. Just type ping and type google.com or something. Ping space the domain name of a website. We're going to give it google.com and we're going to press enter. Now what is it doing here? It's sending requests to the server pointed to by the domain google.com. It's basically knocking on Google's door. Hello? Anyone there? If you run ping and it's giving you this output, that means you're connected to the internet. That means you're all good. Ping is a really common command. It's really easy to use too. Now I'm just going to type ls again. Look at some of these files. To view the contents of a file, we're going to use a command called cat, like the animal cat, C-A-T. I am going to look at my Z shell configuration, just as an example, just for a file to look at. And the name of that file is .zshrc. So now, what is this? This is the contents of my file .zshrc. I have a very complicated configuration for my Z shell, but it's all right here. If you want to see the contents of any file on your computer, you just type cat, like the animal cat, and then the name of the file. And it will print the contents of that file to what we call the standard output. Let's say we want to make a file. If you want to make a brand new file that has nothing in it, you're just going to type touch. We're going to type touch space file.txt. Enter. Then we're going to type ls here. And as you can see, there is a new file in my home directory called file.txt. If we look at the contents of that file with cat file.txt, nothing happens. It didn't print anything, it didn't say anything. That's because file.txt is empty. And that's what the touch command does, is it creates an empty file. Now, if you want to edit this file, but you don't know how to edit files in a terminal, you can use the program Nano. Nano is not always going to be installed by default. You might have to install it yourself, but GNU Nano is probably the simplest and most beginner-friendly terminal text editor you will ever find. So we're just going to type nano file.txt to open this file in a text editor. Now this is GNU Nano. It's showing a blank empty buffer right now because there's nothing in this file. But let's put some stuff in this file. Hello world. Goodbye world. I'm a computer whiz. Now I know command line. You know, say something like that. You can just type whatever you want. As you can see, Nano has this little bar down here that gives you some useful controls. It tells you how to use Nano. So if we want to write this file to file.txt, you can do Control and the letter O to write a file. It's going to prompt you for the file name. You just press enter. And it's going to say wrote 5 lines. So we just saved our new file, file.txt, using the text editor Nano. To exit Nano, you're going to want to type Control, hold the Control key, and then press X. And you can exit Nano that way. So now let's type ls again. Oh, accidentally typed a backslash there. That doesn't really affect anything though. So here's our home directory again. Now let's type cat space file.txt to see the contents of our new file, file.txt. And there it is. That's what we've written in that file. That's what we just wrote to that file in the Nano text editor. So now let's get out of this home directory. Let's go to a more interesting directory. You can type cd space and just a slash. That's it. And then press enter, and that will take you to the root of your file system. The root of every Unix and Linux file system is going to look the same. It's going to look like this. The thumbnail of this video has some nice information on it about the Unix and Linux file hierarchy. But yeah, basically any Unix or Linux machine is going to be structured in this way. It's going to have bin, boot, dev, etc, home, lib, user, var. So let's go into the bin directory and let's just see what's in there. Type cd bin and then we'll type ls. So what this is where all of the commands, the programs for these commands that I've been typing, all of these programs reside in here, the /bin directory. I think on Void Linux, which I'm using, it's a symbolic link. So slash bin actually points to slash user slash bin. If I type cd space dot dot and then I do a ls la, it will reveal these symlinks to me. So yes, bin is a symbolic link to slash user slash bin. And that goes the same for lib, lib32, lib64, and the directory sbin also goes to slash user slash bin. What about dev? The device files directory. You can go to cd dev. And just to show you what directory this actually is, I will run pwd again. We are in the slash dev directory. Every Linux box has one of these. Now I'm going to type ls again. These device files are special. Each of these device files is a... how do I explain it? They're just special files, and each of them represent some element of the real hardware on your computer. Some of them are special, like if I wanted to cat slash dev slash null, it doesn't give me anything, because slash dev slash null just returns null every time. If I wanted to do cat slash dev slash 0, it's going to do nothing, because the slash dev slash 0 file just returns zeros. 0, 0, 0, 0. This file is endless. There is no end to this file because it is a special device file. Many of the programs and scripts that you use in your Linux system or Mac OS system are going to be working with these device files. There's a device file for absolutely everything, for every drive, for every sound card, for every monitor, for every TTY session. There's going to be a device file for it. Now, if you want to go back to your home directory, you can just type cd space and then a tilde. And that will return you to your home directory. My home directory, /home/Babcock. As you can see in my prompt, there's a little tilde right there. Now let's say you want to check your disk space. You want to see how much free space you have on your disk. This task can be accomplished with the command df. Just like that, just type df. And df always gives me this error for some reason. You can just ignore that. Now, df will return all of the connected devices to your system. My main root partition is this line right here. And as you can see, it's kind of hard to tell how much free space I actually have when it's just this long number in bytes like that. But I'm using up 95% of my disk. If you want to see the df command with human-readable file sizes, we're going to do what we've done for that ls command. You're just going to want to type df space -h and run that. Now, that is a lot easier to read, and that's a lot easier to imagine and visualize. Once you can see the file sizes in human readable format. And I have 12 gigabytes of free space. And that's how you find out how much free space you have on your disk, just with the df command. There's some other commands that are nice to know about that don't do very much, but you might want to use them sometimes. Like hostname. You can just type hostname, and that will tell you the official name of your computer. The name of my computer is just thing, so it will return thing. If you want to know your own username for some reason, you can type who am I? And it will tell you who you are. What else could we do? What else could we look at? If you want to look at the currently running processes on your system, you are going to open up the interactive program called Top. Every Unix and Linux system has this program. I just showed you HTOP, which is kind of the fancy version of Top. But you just type TOP and then enter. And that will put you in this program. This is an interactive program. You can use the up and down arrow keys to scroll. And this program just tells you how much CPU is being used by processes on your computer. It tells you how much memory is being used by processes on your computer. And it lists the most active processes on your computer. The first commands that pop up for me are OBS, which is how I'm making this video right now, OBS. That's using up a lot of CPU and memory. And then the next one is Xorg, the X Windows system. That's using up a lot. And then Pulse Audio. Pulse Audio is recording my voice right now. And after that, it's MPV. And MPV is the process that is showing my face right here. This is an MPV window. You can see a polybar down here. There are two instances of polybar because I have my laptop and I have the external monitor. You can see PyCom, my window compositor. You can see Conky, which is my fancy system monitor over here. You can see MPD. You can see MPD, my music player daemon. And if you want to get out of Top, you just press Q. And that will close Top. Now let's say you want to do something that you need elevated privileges to do. Like, let's try to do a touch, and then we'll give it a full file path. We'll touch a file in the etc directory. Touch etc dummy. Just a dummy file. Try to do that. And it will tell you permission denied. And you're probably wondering, why is that? Why don't I have permission? In every Unix and Linux system, there are the normal users, which is what you are, which is what I am, and then there is the root user. The root user is the super user, and the root user has the highest privileges in the system. So if you really want to do something important, or if you want to do something that your current user is not able to do because you don't have enough privileges, you are going to want to use the command sudo. And you're going to want to be careful with the sudo command because it is possible to do some real damage to your operating system if you mess around with sudo and you don't know exactly what you're doing. But we can just run this dumb command because it's nothing that bad is going to happen. I'm just trying to make a dumb file, a dumb empty file. But if you wanted to do that, you could type sudo touch /etc/dummy. And it's going to prompt me for my password. I'm going to type my password and press enter. And it did it. It didn't say permission denied. If you want to list the files in a specific directory, you can just type ls space. You can use the options if you want, la, and then just type the name of the directory, /etc. And I'm going to run that command. It's going to show me everything in my /etc directory. Here's all my config files. Here's all the important Linux files. Aha, dummy. I've made this dummy file in the etc directory. And as you can see, it is owned by root, the root user. So, if I want to edit this file, anytime I want to edit or, modify this file, I have to be the root user. So I'm going to go ahead and type clear. And I'm going to see what happens now if I type nano /etc/dummy. I'm going to press enter. And it's going to give you this error. This very mean, scary looking red error. File /etc/dummy is unwritable. Any terminal text editor is going to give you this if you try to edit a root protected file as your regular user. So you can type whatever you want, but it's not gonna be able to save it because we've just launched nano as a regular user and not the root user. So if I tried to do Control-O to write the file, and if I press enter, it's going to give me this permission denied error because I did not start the nano program with root privileges. It's not going to be able to, write to this file. So I'm just going to exit nano with the key combination Control and X. Save modified buffer, you just press N for no, and that gets you out of nano. Now, if I type sudo nano /etc/dummy, now it's not giving me that error anymore, and I can type whatever I want, and this will save. And then I'm going to type I'm going to press Control-O. File name to write, /etc/dummy. Press enter. As you can see now, it has successfully written to the file, and it says wrote 3 lines. That's because I have super user privileges right now, granted to me from the command sudo. Now, if you've never used a terminal before, or you haven't used the sudo command before, it's probably not going to work for you as easily as it just worked for me just now. It's probably going to give you some long, some long weird message saying, you better be careful when you run the sudo command. Or it's going to say, hey, you're not in the sudoers file. This incident will be reported. So you might have to look up how to add yourself to the sudoers file. Just Google something like that. Just how to use sudo or how to add user to sudoers file. Anyway, that's all I'm going to be covering in this video today. Just the handful of basic commands that don't do very much. Here's another one, echo. This is a very simple command. All it does is just repeat a string on the standard output. So if you type echo hello world, it just says hello world. But yeah, I really hope this video helps somebody. I have a lot of other resources for new Linux users to help them learn the basic Unix and Linux commands. Like on my website, you can check this out. This tutorial is very expansive. It has a lot of help and a lot of information and a lot of helpful hints and tricks that the average new Linux user doesn't really know about. So please check out that tutorial. There's going to be a link to that in my video description. Please check out my website. Please subscribe to my Patreon, and please sponsor me on GitHub. I would love it. I would appreciate this money so much. You have no idea. Here's my GitHub sponsors profile. There is a link to my GitHub profile in this video description. There's also a link to my Patreon, and there's also a link to my website. I really hope this video helped somebody. If you're a new user and this video helped you, please let me know. Please let me know what you thought of my video. You can like, comment, subscribe if you really like my content and want to see more of my content. And a really nice thing that you would get if you subscribe to my Patreon, besides my eternal undying gratitude, is this. You will get your name added to my closing video cards. I don't have any real sponsors right now, but if you choose to sponsor me, I will put your name up here, and you will see your own name in my videos. Remember, I have a $128 tier for the big spenders. I have a $64 tier. I have a $32 tier. I have a $16 tier. And if you don't have a lot of money, I still have that $8 tier and a $4 tier. Anyway, guys, my name is Tanner Babcock. Thanks a lot for watching my video. Have a great night.